episode of the Red Pill Investor. My name's John Ashley, a pseudonym of a realtor here in the great state of Arizona, here to help you with your real estate sales skills. Why? Well, it's just sort of my way to pay it forward for all the people who've given me the tips, the tricks, the things to say to get that contract signed when I needed it the most. Their only request of me, pay it forward. And this is my opportunity to you. Thank you so much for joining me today on this powerful episode of the Red Pill Investor. And today is no exception. Man, we've been having a great week. We've been talking to some of the most powerful investors that I know about some of their inside secrets, their tips, their tricks, the things that make them work. And today is no different. Today, I'm going to introduce to you one of my executive one-on-one customers by the name of Kyle Pettit. And he's going to tell you a story about how he started as a wholesaling investor, gained his license, and some of the results that he's had. More importantly, I want you to kind of think about what he's been able to accomplish in such a short period of time, especially when it comes to taking listings. See, if you're an investing agent, you've probably faced that situation before. You've told them a wholesale price or a price that you feel comfortable buying it at, and they say no. But you don't want to lose that opportunity. You want to take that listing. Kyle tells us a little bit about how he does it in this episode as well. So, sit back and listen in as I introduce to you my friend, Kyle Pettit. All right, Red Pill Investors, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm here with Kyle Pettit. Kyle, are you there?
I'm here.
Outstanding. Kyle, thank you for showing up and sharing your time today. I know that you've been very busy. You just got out of a listing appointment today. Is that correct?
I did. Had a couple appointments today. It's been a good day.
Well, good for you. Well, listen, I appreciate you taking time out of your day to share with us some of the ideas that you've been experiencing, some of the things you've been doing in your business. Now, just for the audience, I wanted to go ahead and introduce you a little bit. As I understand it, just to let them know, you're an agent with A1 Realty in near Olympia, Washington. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yep.
All right, good deal. And you've been a realtor for a while, and you're also a wholesaling investor. Is that right?
That's right. I actually got my real estate license right around November, I believe.
Wow, good for you. Okay, good deal. So you were an investor first who chose to get their license. Is that what it was?
Yeah, I actually started with rental properties. Bought a few rental properties. Then I kind of transitioned into doing some wholesale deals, and then I transitioned into getting my license and just keep progressing from there.
Okay, well, good deal. Well, listen, before we get too far into that, I always like to start off these kinds of podcasts, if at all possible, with a powerful quote. Have you got something powerful that you wouldn't mind sharing with the audience that they could use to, I don't know, kick the show off into good starts? In a good high gear, I guess?
I got a quote that I keep on my board in my office, and it's pretty simple, but it's kind of powerful. It just basically says, be the change you want to see in the world.
I love it.
Kind of kicks the morning off on a positive note.
I love that. Yeah, I think the Dalai Lama said that, didn't he?
I don't know who said it. I heard it somewhere and I wrote it down.
Yeah, it's a great quote. I love that quote. I don't remember who said it, but yeah, it's a great quote. Be the change you want to be in this world. I mean, because when you think about it, if we're going to make any kind of change in our real estate business, we've got to go out there and hustle and make it happen. That's for sure. So, all right. So the reason why I wanted to talk with you in particular today was a couple reasons. First of all, I wanted to talk with you a little bit about your journey into becoming a realtor. Why did you choose to add a license to your real estate skill set, so to speak? I mean, I know there's a lot of investors out there that I talk to who are currently considering getting a license or they've thought about it. What was it about that decision that caused you to kind of go the whole way?
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, the first initial decision for me to get licensed was I basically just wanted my own access to the MLS.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the further we got into it, I seen the opportunity to, to be able to capitalize doing more transactions and just opening up to more opportunity. And it's just kind of progressed from there.
So then how did you, when you got your license, how did you find the broker that you're currently working with? Was that difficult?
No, actually, I was introduced to him through a mutual contact, and he is an investor as well, and really understands and the flipping side of things, whether it be rehabs, wholesaling,
Mm-hmm.
and he understands it inside and out, and is completely comfortable with me as a licensed agent, partaking in both activities. Just as long as I'm following the laws, and I think that's pretty hard to find, because it seems like many brokers don't, the word wholesaling. I'd say the majority of brokers that I've spoken with in the area really don't even know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So to find one that one knew what it was, and two was okay with me partaking in both activities was a good find.
Mm-hmm. And that's interesting. I know that I hear that a lot on other forums or other podcasts. Many times people will have that challenge where they're trying to find an agent. I'm sorry, I should say find a brokerage that they're wanting to work for and hang their license at, but they have trouble finding an investor-friendly one. Many times I've sort of felt as though it's really an issue of the communication. Instead of saying wholesaling, maybe saying assignment of contract instead. Had
Mm-hmm.
that made any difference when you said it, or did you try that, or did it even occur at that time?
Yeah, I mean, with others that I had spoken with, they knew of it and knew what it was, but had never heard of anybody doing assignment of contract as a main means of income or a main source of their transaction.
Right. Yeah, and that's a very challenging thing. I mean, for agents for themselves, it's many times a very unilateral approach to real estate. The model of residential resale is pretty much the one and only way we do it. But when we think about doing it from an outside perspective, it's very difficult for us to sometimes comprehend that we can make a systematic, duplicatable, sustainable business from that method of doing real estate, of assignment of contract, wholesaling, whatever. So that's powerful that you were able to find somebody. Did it take you a long time?
No, actually, I met this particular broker before I even decided to get my license. So
Okay.
we'd had the conversation before I even took the course.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that worked out really well for you. Okay, good deal.
Mm-hmm.
So then in the last few months, I guess you mentioned you got your license when? November?
Yeah, right around November, December, sometime
Okay.
in that area.
Okay, so let's talk about this year. All right. So at the time of this recording, it's like May 30th or something like that. And everybody's going to start hearing this right after the 1st of June. And so my question is simply this. In the first 6 months of the year, how'd it go?
Well, first 6 months of the year, I haven't, it's been all license transactions, listings and that sort of thing. I've currently got 2 new wholesale deals in the pipeline and one under contract. But,
outstanding! Good for you.
As soon as I got that license, everything kind of shifted, and I think a lot of it's because it's new. My focus shifted a little bit, but working with you now, we're kind of honing them skills to be able to use them, both equally as well.
I'm curious, when you are talking about, you said that in the last couple months, things had kind of slipped into place. What number are we looking at here? Are we talking about you've done 2 deals, 3 deals, 5 deals, 100 deals? What are we looking at?
Two. I mean, closed transactions.
And then you have,
I've got another 4 pending,
Jesus.
and then I think I've got a total of 7 listings, and then out of those 4 that are pending, are buyers' offers, so they're not my listings.
Well,
but
that's
they're
quite
offers
all right. I mean, money is money. Andrew Jackson, I don't care what, hey, as long as it's, good for you. I mean, when you think about it, I mean, because that's really what you're trying to do is generate some income through real estate. So let me ask you a question. I mean, obviously, your investor-friendly real estate agent broker gave you all those leads to list, right? Because he doesn't want to list them. That's how you got all that business so quickly, correct?
Yeah, negative.
Oh, okay.
No,
How about you share with us a little bit about how you did it? You spent tons of mail, right?
I haven't spent a penny on mail since the beginning of. It's been over a year ago.
Okay, so you've not spent any money on mail, all right, and you've not got any agent. Okay, I know, AdSense, Google AdSense, right?
Nope, I haven't spent any Google AdWords.
I give up. Where do you get the business?
Every transaction that I have gotten this year has come from working my network, my center of influence, working Facebook, and I do have a website, an Investor Carrot website that I run. I don't put any advertising money into that, but I do run some ads on Craigslist. So as far as right now advertising, that's it. That's all I'm doing.
Okay. So just to make sure I'm hearing you correctly, as a brand new agent who focuses on getting wholesale deals, that's kind of your primary focus. You're still kind of new, you're still kind of learning, but you haven't got any deals handed to you by your broker. You didn't have to go out and spend any money to drive traffic to your website. You weren't out there cold calling all day. Like people say, I teach you to cold call all day. And you weren't doing that. You were like networking with people and doing some some online stuff, working with people in an online capacity. And through all that, you got roughly 8 transactions that are going to close by the end of June, correct?
4 by the end of June, and the others are active. Well, they're pending offers.
Right. Okay. So they're pending offers, but you'll have like 4 closed and 4 other pendings or something like that, right?
Working on that. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. Good deal. All right. Cool. So either way it goes, that's great production. I mean, most agents when they're first starting out, that's nothing to sneeze at. And if you keep this up, I mean, good gracious. I mean, you could do, as you get better, you figure, 16, 20, maybe even 25 deals by the end of the year. If you're getting good at it, you start really implementing those skills. So that's exciting news. Obviously, it all came very easily, correct?
Yeah,
this is an easy, fun business, right?
Yeah, easy, fun, no hard work involved.
So what was some of the challenges that you had to face? Tell us a little bit about that.
The biggest challenge to face has been time management and scheduling. Never always going to work for somebody else. Mm-hmm. Up until last year, and working out of your own office, basically working from home. The distractions are. There's no what's the word I'm looking for? There's no
end.
Yeah, I mean there's distractions everywhere, so it's easy to get distracted, whether it be phone calls or work around the house, or just kind of having that little bit of freedom per se that you didn't have working in a job. It's easy to get off track and get doing things that aren't productive. but we're getting better at that.
So how do you do that? I mean, I hear that a lot when I've been interviewing these investors this week, and I hear a lot of that. Time management is a difficult challenge. They've got families, they've got kids, sometimes they got other jobs. For you as a full-time realtor, a full-time investor, you're married. I mean, this is a juggling act. How do you do it so far? I mean, how have you been able to manage?
I really just try to time block, and it doesn't work out perfectly every day, but I came up with a time block of what activities I want to focus on doing at certain times of the day, and try real hard to stick to that. And that's been the biggest thing. And the other is having I don't know if you'd call I guess an accountability, somebody you're accountable to check in with, and make sure you're staying on task. That definitely helps. Those would be the two big items, I would say, is learn how to time block and schedule your day in advance.
Okay. And so when you're out there every day, trying to make a living, trying to make real estate happen for yourself, the way I'm kind of hearing you say it is that you've set it in your schedule that you're going to time block out a particular time. Look, I'm going to accomplish this. I'm going to prospect, or I'm going to lead follow-up, or whatever, present, or whatever it is. You've decided that that's what you're going to do, and then you try to stick to that schedule. That's what I'm pretty much hearing you say.
Yes, and that's like I said, it doesn't always work out perfectly.
That's where the accountability comes in, right?
Right.
So what kind of accountabilities have you set up for yourself? I mean, when you're saying that, because we all hear that. I mean, let's just be honest. You can go to any podcast and hear, hey, look, you need to write down your schedule and stick to it. I mean, that's true. But they might even hear, you know what? You need to set up some accountabilities for yourself. What kind of accountabilities have you set up for yourself that's kind of helped you? Obviously you're not perfect, but get better. What kind of things have you set up for yourself to get better at this that's worked?
On that side of it, as far as the punishment per se is, I haven't done a whole lot of that, but, I don't want to look at the end of the month and not have any income coming in. So, that definitely helps.
You're a big positive motivation kind of guy.
keep you motivated a little bit. You don't want to see that bank account keep decreasing without replenishing. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's certainly motivating.
And I've heard of some things people do. Say at the end of the week, if you haven't completed your your goals or your tasks, that you have to donate a certain amount of your hard-earned money to the opposing, whether you're Democrat, Republican, whatever, the opposing party you represent with, or maybe an organization you don't necessarily support. I've talked to some folks that partake in doing things like that. I haven't quite gotten that far yet.
Well, I'll tell you one of the craziest.
It would certainly be a good motivator.
Well, I'll tell you one of the craziest things I ever did. It's kind of crazy, but way back in the day, I used to, as you know, I was in the Mike Ferry coaching program, and they had the neuro-linguistic programming that they were teaching, right? And Matthew Ferry, who's Mike Ferry's son, was teaching that class, and he is such a great teacher and very good speaker. And he had this accountability, and he said, I'll tell you what I want you to do. I want you to write out 6 $1,000 checks. Write them out, make them out payable to Mike Ferry organization and whatever. And each time you don't do your homework, well, then we're going to cash a check. So every day you had to send them in your homework. And if you didn't send them in your homework, guess what? It cost you $1,000. Let me tell you, I didn't miss a single thing. Let me tell you. And I think sometimes it's where you establish those accountabilities for yourself. That's what really helps propel you to that next level. And it sounds like for you, I know that you're getting kind of tired. It's the end of the week, and you've really put a lot of work in. You've had a couple listing appointments today, but you've had phenomenal production. You've had a lot of good success. I know you've had some struggles keeping consistent and making that happen, but it sounds like you're well on your way. So as we close today's episode, let me just ask you a couple quick questions. You've been very patient with your time. Another thing I wanted to talk about was this conversion to listing aspect. Now, one of the biggest questions that people have about the Red Pill sales system is, what do you do if you're a listing agent and they don't like your price? You go over there, let's say as a wholesale agent, you want to make this offer, and they say, we don't like your price. How do you salvage that and turn it into a winning situation where you take the listing? And in the Red Pill sales system, I teach the conversion way to do that, and we've talked about that. How's that kind of working for you in your practice? Tell me a little bit about that.
It's so far it's worked pretty well. I've gotten successfully 2 listings out of doing just that.
Okay, so take us a little bit to that moment when you were facing the seller and your other side of the table, and they're telling you no. Okay, how did you kind of get them to say, "Oh, okay, well, yeah, we'll list it"? How did that kind of work out?
Well, I mean, there really wasn't there was no ninja tricks or anything to it. It's just, they weren't accepting my cash offer, and I just kind of, laid it out there that, another option for them may be, if that's the number they're looking to net. They told me what their lowest amount was. They wouldn't take anything less. They had to get this, and I told them that I couldn't pay that, but I could certainly, as an agent, I could net them that number if they were interested in working with me as their agent. And by God, they were, and we signed up the deal, and so we're working on getting that one sold.
Outstanding. Good for you. Okay. So,
this wasn't like, I do want to reiterate that this isn't a bait and switch approach. I don't go on these appointments with these leads with the intent of turning all of them into a listing, but the option, the option is obviously being licensed. The option is there.
Certainly, and one of the things that I think that you probably hit on certainly is that when you are an agent, you definitely have to do things differently if you're wholesaling. You can't do it the same way everybody else does. You can't do it on a 2-page contract. You can't do it without disclosures. You can't do it without a significant price discussion. One of the things that's certainly important is letting them know that you're acting as a principal in the transaction, and that's kind of what Article 4 of the Code of Ethics tells us to do. And whenever you switch out of that role and go back into the ethics as an agent, then you have to let them know. And it sounds like that's kind of what you're doing is as a consumer to the market, as a principal, you're letting them know from the beginning, hey, I'm just working on my own behalf. And then if it just happens to work out that, you don't like my price, well, then I happen to have this skill as a realtor and I could potentially get you this other price. And that's when you put that hat back on and restart things. Is that the way it's kind of worked out?
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly how it's gone.
So it's odd. I mean, when you think about it, it's almost as if I've been there before a couple times. It's like I almost wrote it down or something. When I think about that moment when you're at that, it's such a powerful place because, when you first started doing this as a wholesaler, if they didn't want your deal, that was pretty much it. I mean, you couldn't really do much with them, could you?
No, and other than either send them out as a referral to another realtor or just keep following up with them. That was really the only 2 options.
Now, as a realtor, it seems like you've got the ability to go ahead and list it. And if you don't mind me asking, how much is the list price on that property?
$229,000.
Oh my God, $229,000. That's poverty level. Jesus Christ. Ugh, it's awful. Oh no. Heaven only knows if you list it, and again, we can't say obviously what you listed it for, but let's just pretend that you listed it anywhere between X, Y, and Z percent. That could be anywhere between $4,000, $5,000, and $6,000 or more. Correct?
That's right. It'll buy another case of Top Ramen anyway.
Hot dog, Top Ramen, and Mountain Dew, man. That's the way to live this life. What else is there? Good Lord. Top Ramen and Mountain Dew. Good for you. Well, I'm going to tell you, I am very, very happy. Thank you so much for taking time. As we close this up one more time, let's just take a minute to do two things. First, I'd like to have the audience get a minute to get from you, if they've got any referrals to the Olympia, Washington area, or you also service the Tacoma area, do you not? What are all the areas you service up there? I don't know all those little areas. What are all those areas up there you service?
Yeah, well, it's basically Tacoma South, all the way down to Pacific County.
Okay.
So anywhere from Tacoma to Olympia, Aberdeen, Hoquiam, kind of a large area, but it's rural out here, so
Mostly rural?
I don't have. Yeah, it's pretty rural, so
Okay.
the area is a little larger than working in a big city.
All right. So if you've got
say that word, say rural 3 times fast.
Yeah, I hear you, right? So if you've got any referrals to the very rural area of where he lives, then you're more than happy to go ahead and send those his way. He is a very powerful agent. He has been personally trained by me. I love him half to death. Kyle's a great guy. Kyle, what is a good number and email for them to reach you at over there at A1 Realty?
Yeah, a good number is area code 360-339.
Okay.
4831.
Good. And an email?
And they can email is Kyle at soldbykylepettit.com. That's
Okay.
KYLE at soldby Kyle, and Pettit is Pettit.
Awesome. Good deal. And is there a Twitter, Facebook, anything like that you'd like to reach you at as well, socially?
Yeah, you can get me on Facebook. It's just Facebook / Kyle Pettit Real Estate, and Twitter is at Sold by Kyle Pettit.
Love that. Love that. Okay, good deal. So it's the time for you to go ahead and step into the hot seat. Tell us a little bit about what you would recommend, knowing what you know now, to all these new investors during Investor Week. They're coming to you hungry for knowledge. Okay? They're looking to you for the wisdom of the ages. What to do, the top 3 things you'd recommend for them to do that don't cost more than $100. Okay? Don't break them. They don't have a bunch of bucks. Tell them what they can do to get some awesome results without spending a ton of money. Top 3 things. Go ahead. What do you think?
Yeah, okay. So the top thing that I would suggest is tell everybody you know what you're doing, and do it daily.
Okay.
Put it out there, Facebook, phone calls, text messages. It's all free.
Okay.
Second would be to feed your mind something positive every single day.
Ooh, I like
whether that be in personal development or something of that nature. Turn the news off. Don't be watching the news. And the third would be find a good mentor. Find whether you know them personally, talk to them personally, read their books. Just find somebody who's kicking ass at what you want to do and mimic them.
Man, that is That is so crazy that you should say that, because that was one of the things that Rodrigo had said also was, you really want to find somebody who's doing what you want to do and mentor them. Just kind of cut that learning curve. You know what I'm saying? It's really ironic that you all pretty much are saying that. That's very powerful language. I'm glad to hear. So what I heard you just say was take massive action. Tell everybody what you're doing. Facebook, email, text, phone call, let them all know you're buying houses. Second, feed your mind. Turn off the television, turn off the stuff that's telling you can't do stuff. Make sure your brain is fed positively. And then, of course, the third thing you said, find that mentor, somebody who can kind of help walk you through things, maybe explain things, read their books, sit with them, whatever it is, but to kind of soak it in. Is that right?
Those are my top 3.
Dude, I can't think of any better way to put it. You You've summed it up great, Lou. Man, I gotta tell you, Kyle, I have nothing but the most respect for you. It's been a pleasure to coach you. You have been a phenomenal student. I'm really excited for your future. I'm very excited to see what happens in December, January, etc. when we touch back and see how you did. So go kick a bunch of ass this year, and we will talk to you at the end of the year. Fair enough?
Fair enough, and I do appreciate that, and do want to reiterate that I would not be as far along as I am, without your coaching and your services. It's certainly a very wise investment.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I had the easy part. All I had to do was tell you what to do. You had the hard part. You had to go out there and actually do it, and that's not easy. So congratulations for you. You deserve everything you get because you've earned it. So, all right. Well, listen, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of the Red Pill Investor. Again, if you've got any referrals for the area for Kyle, he sure is your guy to talk to. Thank you so much, and we'll look forward to talking to you soon. Have a powerful sales day. Bye-bye.